Okay, I believe we are live. YouTube Studio has just prompted me to insert ads now. I've not even started YouTube. So this is something I've wanted to do for a while, a live stream. And the good thing about YouTube is once this ends, it can just be ready. So you might not be up now. What time is it? 8 a.m. Sunday morning. You're forgiven if you're not awake right now. But if you are, good morning to you. I hope you watched Match of the Day. I just finished watching it. So I'm going to just take a look at those games first. Yesterday's games. Elijah, good morning. People used to say I look like someone called Elijah. You know, the guy from Lord of the Rings. I don't see it myself. I will take a look at some of the games you've suggested in there. Viborg, Randers. Is that Danish or Norwegian? I think it's Danish, isn't it? Usually decent leagues then. But I will start by looking at England and some of the games that were played yesterday. Liverpool, we can start there. What a win. What a massive win that was for Liverpool, for Darwin Núñez off the bench. Bit of controversy. I say bit of controversy. It shouldn't have got to that point, should it? To be honest. The referee has had an absolute stinker, a shocker. But you can see the pressure here. It was pretty much all Liverpool for the game. Live pressure at the end, 84, 66 on average. Good morning to Blue Shark. Good morning from Spain. How is it in Spain? How's the weather there? I know it's pretty grim in England at the moment. Take us to the wonderful land of Mordor. I will try my best. Morning, Tony. Yeah, I'm thinking, you know, potentially to do these, all of the prediction videos live in the morning, and then they're just there for people when, you know, when they wake up, and people can actually interact, obviously, because it's a chat, it's a live stream, but I just think it's a little bit better to just talk about the games live with people. So for Liverpool, we can see their form now, 4 wins in a row, and given the injuries that they've had, this run could prove to be what wins them the league. I think it's a 2-horse race. City are going to come good in Liverpool. I just think Arsenal might drop off. They have waves, Arsenal. I'm sure Arsenal fans will disagree with me. Get in the chat. Who do you think will win the Prem? Big game today. We will get to that game, the Manchester Derby. I will cover that. We'll look at some player stats as well. And yeah, we'll get right into the Prem games from yesterday. Brentford, I talked about Chelsea, didn't I, on the previous predictions video, that I just couldn't trust them. And I don't think those Chelsea fans can trust Pochettino anymore. They were shouting for him to leave the club. Some of them, not all of them, but as you can see, they are 11th. And it's not great. It's not been great at all. Jackson with another massive miss. Werner with a couple of misses as well, but he did get his first goal for Spurs. Just checking the chat again. Top of the morning to you from sunny Zambia. Nice. No free trial of Odd Alert, says Elijah. Well, there sort of is, because you can view all of the stats. That's one thing I never will do. I don't lock any stats. So all of this, whether it's goals, whether it's timing data, corners, cards, if you go onto certain other football stats websites, they will lock this. They will blur this. I don't believe that any of that data should be locked and stuff like that. If you're on a free account, you can actually still set alerts as well. You could set alerts, you know, tell me if there hasn't been 5 corners in the first half or something. Any of those alerts that you see in this section, let me just show you. I should pick a game that is upcoming, so we'll take a look at Sunday's games, and then we'll get back to the Prem. But yeah, maybe people don't know this. Maybe I can make it a bit more obvious that if you're on a free account, you can set an alert in here. So anything. So maybe you could just, if you're looking at first half goals or something, you could say if there is less than 1 goal after 20 minutes, and you can save that alert, and that's done. So you can do that if you're on a basic account. I think you can set 10 alerts per day, which is still pretty good. I was thinking actually recently of the quick filters. I do want to update that for people that are not pro members. I want to give people a little bit more. The trends page, you can see parts of that as well. You can see the top 3 teams for each category, I think. We could start with some trends. We will get to that. I'm just trying to think. I didn't really plan this. I don't plan any of the videos. I just sort of jump on and see what happens. But I will just continue to take a look at some of yesterday's games. The predictions that I made, it was a bit of a mixed bag in the last video. Plymouth didn't get that goal at home. It's now 3 games without a goal at home for Plymouth, which is quite surprising. And for Ipswich, it just creates a superb title race now with Southampton won 4-3, did they? In fact, let's take a look, shall we, at those games, because the Championship is fantastic this season. There's some teams that are massive that, how many of them go up 3? So there's going to be a couple of teams at least that are so disappointed. Leeds could only draw. Norwich got a victory. Stoke got a win. That's a big win for them. And it's their manager. He left Plymouth, didn't he? Leicester lost as well. There was some interesting results yesterday. BTTS in quite a few of those games, but not the one that I covered on the video, Plymouth. Ipswich Town. Let's have a look at the Championship table. So after 35 games, Leicester, Ipswich, Leeds and Southampton, and there is not much in it at all. It's going to be some title race, that, and I'm sure it'll come down to the last couple of days for that second place. I do think Leicester will go up automatically. Girona, what's Girona likely to do? I will make a mental note of all these games. We're going to get to some upcoming games probably in a few minutes. I'm not sure how long this live stream will be, to be honest. Just want to cover the main games today. I'm thinking maybe 40 minutes or an hour or something. And as I said before, the good thing about YouTube is it's sort of just, it's there straight away, isn't it? Don't have to edit the video. But you do have to talk more, I'm finding. How do you get a free account? You can just sign up. So if you go to more here, I'm logged in, but where it says log out, it'll say sign up, and you can just put your email in and create an account that way. Good morning from Sweden, says Roger. Good morning, says Roger from Sweden. My brain just did something there. Girona are a stay away from me, for me now, I assume you mean. Yeah, well, I think I saw a few people saying that about PSG after Friday. They've been good defensively, PSG, another clean sheet on the road, and they're still unbeaten away from home, but there's something going on there, isn't there? They took Mbappe off at half-time. You talk too much with less action. Thank you, Umar. Well, why don't you tell me what you want me to look at, what game, what is this action that you speak of, and I will get onto it. We are going to take a look at the trends pages. We're going to take a look at some upcoming Prem games. I think I'll start with some trends pages and we'll make our way into some games from there. Kevin Meckel, how are you? I'm all right. How are you, mate? Good morning from Southall, West London. Good morning. Fresh, crisp Sunday morning. Spring just around the corner. So let's take a look first at some home wins. I'll open these in some new tabs. BTTS for today as well. We'll have a look at some away wins. Get in the chat as well. Anyone, I'm hoping I can still access the chat when this is finished. I'm sure I'll be able to. Any comment at any time in the chat automatically be entered into a draw to win Odd Alerts Pro. Same as always as we take a look at some home games here. And the first one that sticks out is PSV. Now, we've featured these on a couple of videos recently, usually much lower odds than this. They are just over evens to win a game of football. Now, it's not often you see that, but I did say that about PSG on Friday night. So we'll take a look at the probability model first. You can see I've already put a prediction on there. 48% compared to 28% for Feyenoord. Feyenoord are second, the second best team in the league, but PSV are so dominant. They've won 11 out of 11, 82% in terms of Feyenoord winning away from home. Recent results, scored 9 in the last couple of games, 14 in the last 3. The only time they dropped points since 21st of Jan is that Ajax game where they were also over evens to win, or just over evens, I think. I would personally take this just because of how strong they are. It's a similar thing to PSG the other night. If you offered me that game again, I take it again, and that's, it's all right. Sometimes things happen. There's clearly something going on with Mbappe there. Why would you take Mbappe off at half-time? It's the same old thing with PSG. Every year there's just something in the dressing room, that, I don't know, it's just toxic. Every year something happens and the players turn on the manager, or they don't really work for the manager, or, there's a few players and murmurs, and they sort of stumble their way to titles, which is not good. So what are your predictions for this one? Average goals, very high for both of these teams. PSV are actually averaging 3 goals per home game, conceding just 5 goals at home. So, again, you wouldn't bet against them, and to get them at over evens is, I would take it all the time. Let me know what you think about that one. That is our first game, PSV. If you are on Odd Alerts, you can add any of these games to your predictions, and you can win free Odd Alerts Pro as well every week. In fact, let's have a look at the winner from this morning, because the game week finished Saturday midnight. We can see that the winner was Julie. Well done. I will get your account sorted. 4 points in it at the end, and you can see the predictions here. You can go through and see the predictions that won her that title. That is her second title, if my memory is correct. And we can see that this game week, there's still quite a lot to go. If you've not played the predictions game, you get 28 predictions per week, per game week. And it runs, as I say, from Sunday midnight to Sunday midnight, if that makes sense. So we'll go back to the trends pages now. And as I'm, blabbering on, let me know your predictions for the upcoming games. Any games you want me to cover. Purplitu, sorry if I said that wrong. PSV and BTTS, yeah. It's one of those, isn't it? When you get two very, very good teams who've just seen their defensive records, they're both very, very good defensively. So what kind of game are you going to get? And this is where you've just got to this is where the sort of risk comes into it. You're making a prediction on what kind of game you expect, because it could very well be a tight affair. PSV, we can check quickly the Eredivisie table just to see how many points they are ahead. So they're 10 points ahead. So in terms of the title, in terms of them actually just winning the league, it's better for them to just not lose. They are unbeaten all season so far. They'll want to keep that unbeaten run going. So you could see a world where they do just sort of opt for a safer, cautious approach. But other side of that same coin is that they don't really do that, especially at home. They've scored 3 goals per game, as we saw. So that is PSV. Madhu Teja says, what's up in this live? Does that mean something's wrong? I don't know. This is my first ever YouTube live stream. I used to do it on Twitch, but that was just not the right place, so to speak, for a football stream where you're looking at stats and doing analysis, because you're competing with girls that have got their tops off, to put it frankly. So yeah, I ended up just playing Football Manager on the stream most of the time. And I think, as I said before, for YouTube, the content is instantly on YouTube after you've pressed stop. So from one strong home team to another, Sparta Praha, 2.5, and this is a rivalry. It is a Prague rivalry. Been to Prague, very nice place. We'll take a look at this game. Give us some of your predictions for it. I guess what I could do is maybe put the link in, when I am covering a game. Bear with me, guys. Just trying to get the chat up here. Do you think Napoli will beat Juventus? Those Italian games, man. Anything could happen. We'll cover that one. And we will also cover the Manchester derby. And, okay, I can't find the way to include this link in the chat. I was just going to put it in the chat so you could click on the game and sort of check out the stats with me together. But we've got 2 unbeaten teams here. And Sparta Praha, Slavia Praha. This is at 5 p.m. today, Sunday. So Kelvin is saying over 2.5 goals. I think that might be for the PSV game. We'll have a check. We've not even looked at the goals for this one yet, have we? 3.45 on average at home for Sparta Praha. They've conceded just 6. Again, we've got a similar sort of game, haven't we? 2 very good teams here. The home team have scored in every single game. There's not been a 0-0 at home, and the clean sheet record is there for all to see. 55% of games. This one might be a case of looking at the head-to-head first, actually, and seeing what kind of games we usually get. A couple of red cards in that previous game. So I don't really know, to be honest. These 2 teams are very good. A couple of clean sheets in the last couple of games for the away team would put me off BTTS as well. If we're looking at the table, it is very, very close. So again, this team being at home especially in this title race. They're not exactly 10 points clear. They're not smashing everybody like in the Eredivisie with PSV. Maybe a double chance for this one, and we can check the odds there because, as I say, for some of these games, it's better to just not lose, is it? So 1x, which is the home win or the draw, 1.44, a little bit too low for me. If you were to take the freeway result, it is 2.5 peak. So I've seen Randers in the chat quite a bit, so we will take a look at that game just before we jump back to the trends. If you've got any games you want me to look at, I will take a look. So I think the context for this was, do you think it will be over 2.5 goals? We'll take a look at this one, and then after that we will take a look at Napoli Juventus, see what the data is saying there. So the Superliga, 19 games played, a decent sample size. Card markets incidentally available for this game, or whether that's player markets, player foul markets and stuff. So 2 goals or more, it is 89% for both of these teams. They've scored in 78% of games. I just saw as well on the stat scroller that 89% is the conceded rate for the home team. So in terms of over 2.5 goals, let's have a look at the probability model. And we will see that over 2.5 goals, 50%. So that is 1.99 converted to odds. So the implied odds and also the points that you would get back if you were to select this on the predictions game. Well, let's see what we would select by taking a look at the data. I'll start by just looking at the results, because you can look at all the numbers you want, but for me, and other people might be the same, I'm quite visual. So when I just see this, you can see quite a few things straight away. BTTS in the last 4, only 1 victory in the last 5. They've conceded 2 or more in 3 of the last 3 games, but 4 of those last 5. They beat Copenhagen, though, at home, who are top. So if we look at their home form, again, straight away, you can see that it is better. They've only lost a couple of games. Now we look for the away team, and straight away I'm seeing, BTTS no in 3 of the last 4 games. So that would put me off, although the away form, they've conceded in every single game, and now that would lead me to look at the home form in terms of goal scoring, because we know that absolutely Randers can concede goals and does concede goals consistently. This one is at 1 p.m, by the way. 1.44 goals per game. They failed to score in 22% of games for both of these teams. Over 2.5 goals was 1.99. BTTS 1.81. I will take that as a prediction on odd alerts, actually. 1.81. What about the actual real world odds? Let's take a look. 1.67, peak of 1.7 with the Sporting Bet. Let me know what you think about that. Over 2.5 goals, I wouldn't, because it could very easily be 1-1. I just think it's like weighing scales in your mind, to be honest, because a lot of the times BTTS and over 2.5 goals, very similar odds, and sometimes it's so clear that you should go BTTS because obviously it's 1 less goal, but with this game I quite like BTTS. You can see there's a few draws for both of these teams. They come into it having had a draw in the previous game, and Randers 2 draws there in the last 5 games. So yeah, hope that was an okay answer. Let me know in the comments what you think about this game. Thanks for the request, Elijah. Just take a look at some of the other comments now. Man City over 2.5 goals. Well, depends what Man United team we get, doesn't it? Chris, what Man United team will we get today? Is Bruno playing? I would fancy him for a card, to be honest. If Man City just keep the ball and torment Man United. I mean, they've got no Højlund, have they? I can imagine Rashford scoring a tap-in and then doing the, the celebration after his interview in the week. Just needs to play football, doesn't he, Rashford? There's a reason people are having a go at him. It's because he doesn't look like he wants to play. I'll say it. He can come after me if he wants. If I was a United fan and you see the way he doesn't press and run back, it would annoy me. So I can 100% get the criticism that comes his way. I think it's justified. Atletico Madrid versus Betis. That looks like a good game. There's some good games today, isn't there? Serie A and Italy usually save the best games until Sunday. We'll take a look at that Italian game between 2 giants. Rashford shot on target is even, says Rowan. That's not bad. It's not bad, but again, I just don't. Same with Chelsea the other in the previous video. Excuse me. I just don't trust Man United to do anything. I just don't know what they are, and when I'm making predictions, I don't really like not knowing what they are. If you can't see some sort of consistency, but we also, when it comes to the Premier League, we've also got our own biases, haven't we? Napoli, Juve. This should be a cracking game, a spectacle for sure. Napoli, it's chalk and cheese in it compared to last season and what they did there. They are 8th at the moment, 1.54 points per game, 40 points after 26. And Juventus, I think they drew the last game, was it? Let's have a look. Yeah, and that was drew the last away game, and they've not been playing well at all. They've been making a meal of things. 5 games, just 1 victory. Napoli, can they turn it on for this massive game? Juventus beat them. Well, no BTTS in the last couple of games. I don't think there was a suggestion, was there, in the chat? Somebody just asked me to check it out. As I say this with all the Champions League games as well. These are tough to call because they're such one-off battles when it's these massive Italian teams playing each other. Napoli do come into this having scored in the last 3 games, including 6 against Sassuolo. Let's have a look at the table in terms of goals, just to see how many times Napoli and Juve have scored. So it's actually pretty similar, 1.58 per game for Juve, Napoli 1.54. What potential markets could we have for this one? As I say, I'm not really keen on these big games. BTTS is 1.79 in terms of the predictions game. For an away win, Juve 2.75. I don't think I can see Juve winning, given the recent run of games. They're not really pushing teams aside. They had a great start to the season, didn't they? Just 1 defeat for the first, well, you can see like 20 odd games or something. Just 1 defeat in to 2023 in Serie A. That's really good. But yeah, something has changed, something has happened, and at the minute, the way Inter Milan are playing, you can't give them any leg room, can you? You just cannot. Inter Milan not playing today, so it is a chance for Juve to put a little bit of pressure on the teams in and around them at the top of the table. Milan also not playing today, so they can move away from them and move a little bit closer towards Inter Milan. But as I say, I don't see them getting a result. So if we look at the full-time markets here, 2.5, it is quite even, to be honest. Juve at 3.5 peak with Marathon. Mangnu says Napoli 1x. That is kind of what I would go with as well. I usually, when there's a game like this, I usually like to go 1x and over 1.5 goals, but could very well be 0-0. You know what these Italian games are like, these Italian teams. How many 0-0s has there been? You would never even mention a 0-0 for Napoli last year. You would not mention it, but we can see there 1.42 goals per game. Is Osimhen, I know he's back from the African Cup of Nations now, but is he back, and is he back? Is he in form? I'm not too sure. Both pretty low scoring teams, I would say, in terms of their, averages across the last few years, especially Napoli. The drop-off has been crazy. In terms of 0-0s, 12% and 4%, so it isn't that high, to be fair, but the average goals, 2.67, 2.31. Let me know what you think in the comments about this game. As I say, any comment on this stream will automatically be entered into a draw to win Odd Alerts Pro, and that'll be announced in the next video and also on Twitter after this stream. If it's you, well done. Let me just check some of the comments, see some of these requests for games. Atletico Madrid, Betis, that's another tasty game. Anderlecht in Belgium, let's go and have a look at that. One other thing we can do as well on the stream is create a filter. If you've got any markets you want me to try and create a filter for today, we can do that. And we'll look at this Anderlecht game, 2nd against 15th. We can hit 5 on the keyboard to bring up the probability model. And we can see that it's given it a 66% expectancy outcome for Anderlecht, 1.51 odds. So that's interesting to know going into the game before we take a look at the stats. And the stats tell us that Anderlecht have won just under 60% of games, and Eupen have lost 67% of games. So straight away, I mean, this is a mismatch, minus 30 goal difference. Blue Shark says Anderlecht to score over 1.5 goals. Paul says Napoli to score first on the previous game. Kaita Moses, Juve has a leaky defence recently. BTTS, very possible. Yeah, for sure. Similar to like Bayern Munich at the minute. I mean, what is going on there? We talked about BTTS, to be fair, on the previous video. I thought they would get the job done. Some people in the comments said BTTS and Bayern Munich. I think many people would have gone with that, to be honest. They just can't keep a clean sheet. Eric Dyer wasn't the answer. If Eric Dyer was the answer, what's the question? How can you reduce the pace and agility of your defence tenfold? They've already got a pretty bulky defence, if you know what I mean. It's not the quickest defence, is it? Da Hustler says, any filter with 3 rules? I'm sure there is filters with 3 rules. Depends what those 3 rules are, though. I would always lean on the probability model, if you can. Does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. As we can see here, 66%. We'll do that. We'll lean on the probability model in the filters in a moment, and we'll find some interesting games for today. Paul Jekyll says, I can't trust Anderlecht. Well, is this why? We're about to find out. Well, why not, Paul? They've only lost once, twice all season. Maybe you had them on in one of these draws. Interesting kind of results here for a team that's obviously so favoured, and let's take a look at the odds for the win. Yeah, 1.32 is the peak, but maybe the value is in BTTS given that defensive record. BTTS at evens. Well, they have conceded in the last 3. The last 3 games have been BTTS, over 2.5 goals at home. See, when you look at the results and you see the 1-0 against Ghent and you see the 2-0, those are better teams, though, aren't they? 5th and 7th and 6th. Let's have a look at the head-to-head. 3-1 in the previous game, 1-0. Anderlecht winning all of the games since Feb 2022, which was a 2-2 draw. Yeah, Paul, let us know why you can't trust Anderlecht. Were you on them for one of these draws, I imagine? BTTS with the probability model, 2.25. I'm going to go with that for my prediction on odd alerts. And we will do a fixture simulation as well. Home win 2-0. So this simulation did not return BTTS. This is based on the probability model as well. And the probability model, to be fair, given us points of 2.25, it's not exactly nailed on, is it? BTTS 44.44%. Bournemouth win. Who are Bournemouth playing? Sorry, I should finish what I'm saying. The chat is right there. I need a second screen. First YouTube live ever. Go easy on me. Let me know what you want me to cover. Any games, any predictions for today. Ludogorets, are they playing as well? There's some good, strong home teams playing today, isn't there? I tell you what we'll do. Someone just asked about a filter with 3 rules. So we'll say that these 2 rules are not part of the 3 rules. They're just the rules that I always put on there. Matches played 10 or more. And then I said you can lean on the probability model. And you can. So home win here. Let's go 60% or more. And then what you can do is sort by the probability model. So we could go home win here. And then we can look at the odds and go home win, and let's just say 1.4 or more. So this is a very, very simple filter, but we're leaning on the probability model. Then we can add a rule for the away team. Any rules you want me to add, by the way, or suggest, let me know. And we can say, okay, show me an away team that has conceded in 80% or more of away games. Let's see what we get. And we get some games. Guatemala. And you can see it is sorted by the probability model, which makes it nice and easy when you've got that enabled on the stats scroller by default. We've got some under-19s action from Croatia, Bahrain, the Bundesliga, again under-19s. I like these for alerts as well, these leagues. For first half goals, BTTS as well. We've got some games from Ghana, from Germany. Can you check the Ajax game? Yeah, sure. Harris C. Burnley, bro. Bournemouth win. Burnley, bro. Are you saying Burnley are going to win? That's likely, is it? Burnley to win? Joseph Isaiah says, please give some value bets. I will if you stop saying please give some value bets, please. leave the chat alone for a moment. I'll put a timeout on if there is one, because yeah, that's just annoying. Sorry. So we're finding all games here. Home win. We're sorting by the probability model. Harris said Burnley versus Bournemouth. Yeah, I'll take a look at that as well. But first, let's take a look at some of these strong home teams, shall we? So, look at some of these strong home teams, shall we? None of these are major leagues, as you can see, but odds are available for every single one of them, because we qualified that. We qualified that the odds are 1.4 or more. You can adjust the stats scroller here to select the odds as well, and it'll show you the odds. If you wanted to sort by the odds, you can actually do that as well. So we can open the feed again, and then we see some games where they might be interesting in terms of a home win, in terms of double chance. So Atalanta against Bologna, let's take a look at that one. And then we will delve into some other filters. Let me know what kind of filters you want me to look at. BTTS over 2.5 goals. And then after that, we will get on to Man City, Man United, and some of those big European games today. So the home win, the probability model is giving this 1.66, and the odds are 1.91. So this is a value bet. Joseph Isaiah, there you go. You only had to comment 27 million times, but you've got a value bet. We found one naturally. You can go to the value bets page as well and get as many as you want at any time. We can look at the odds here, and you're going to get as high as 2.10 actually for this one. So draw no bet, double chance potentially, or just take the value and run with it. Atalanta to win, and 1.66 on the predictions game. That's what you'll get back. Bournemouth have really fallen off recently. So from Atalanta, we'll take a look. Let's take a look at some of their data as well. Wow, decent at home, scoring for fun. The Italian league haven't played as many games since the winter break, have they? As some other leagues. They come into this having been beaten by Inter Milan. They played AC Milan before that, so 2 tricky games. No shame in losing to Inter Milan this season. And before that, just 1 defeat since early December. So that is a value bet. Probability model giving it a implied odds of 1.66. It's 1.91 with Bet365. It's as high as, what was it, 2.10, was it? Yeah, 2.10. So there you go. That's a nice little game for today. And as we scroll down, let me just change the stats scroller again. We're now sorting by odds, aren't we? I forgot about that. So BTTS Harris C says, well, first, I'll try and do this in order. We'll take a look at Burnley Bournemouth. And yeah, not the most glamorous game. And it is the first game, of course. Get it out of the way. So Bournemouth falling off a cliff. They've had some okay performances, but I think, yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about falling off a cliff, case in point right here. 11 goals conceded in the last 3 games, 3 of those to Palace as well. That was a bit of a strange game. Did they get a red card in that game as well? Arsenal, Liverpool, Fulham, City. It's not the easiest run, but if Burnley want to stay up, these home games are massive. I think they're going down. We can't be in March. We're in March now. You can't be in March have home form like that and expect to stay up. It just doesn't happen. Doesn't work like that in the Premier League. Sorry, Burnley. As a Blackpool fan, I know all too well. I think they're doomed. And somebody in the comments said that Bournemouth have fallen off a cliff. They have. I would say they're still capable of scoring. And against Burnley, who obviously concede many, many goals, I wouldn't bet against Bournemouth, actually. I've been impressed with them, to be honest. They had a very difficult start to the season. But if you look at the teams that they played, I know it's supposed to be random, the fixture computer generator, but they played West Ham, then Liverpool, then Spurs, then Brentford away, Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal. They were the first, 7 games? Everton away was the first game for them that you thought, it's a game that, against somebody that would be in and around them in terms of the table. And once they got going, to be fair, it is a good watch. But I think somebody in the comments mentioned Solanke being out, and it is a massive blow for them in terms of the way they play. One of those wins in there away at Manchester United before Christmas, they were sensational that day. So I think away from home they have got pace. Away from home they have scored in the majority of games, so they can break on teams, they can surprise teams. And with all that in mind, let's take a look at the odds. They're over evens with the majority of bookmakers. What about odd alerts and the prediction model there? Away win, away win is touted 42%, 2.38. I'm gonna put that in. One thing I want to build into this soon, just after recalculate the model and get output for it, is the double chance, because it is something I like to take on quite a bit. Draw no bet as well. So just having that more cautious approach and baking that into the predictions somehow, because it's something that I like to put on quite a lot. So what does everyone else think about Bournemouth? Are you as confident as I am in their ability to not necessarily win the game, but be on top and continue this run here of scoring away from home? Even these games here, look, the Newcastle game, the Fulham game, they're still sort of in these games. They're not getting battered like Burnley are. Burnley are certainly getting battered. Adam says he's taken Atalanta and Frosione. That was probably the worst pronunciation. Their main competitor has been having insanely bad refereeing. 8 reds in 10 games. Wow. What game was that? Was that a game you mentioned before? I'm just scrolling through to see your comments. Is that a Greek game, or was it the Ludogorets game? Somebody mentioned Ludogorets before. That's mad, isn't it? 8 reds in 10 games. Ludogorets. Let's take a look. I think the Bulgarian league in recent times has been good for a win and an over 2.5 goals. I still remember the Paxi, but you can see it happens quite a bit for this team as well. Ludogorets, they win and they score 3 or more goals in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of their home games. They're playing CSKA Sofia, who I think is it second or third in this league? They're 6 now. I think it's close. Or is there another Sofia team? Oh yeah, there is. There is another Sofia team. CSKA Sofia. This is CSKA 1948 Sofia. Okay. Whatever. This league is interesting. There's been some very, very good results for us on the previous predictions videos. Sure no more will go down in history. Trends history. If there was a Trends Awards page, the 3.1 the other day, they'd won 10 out of 10 at home or something. And they made it 11 out of 11. And I think they've since made it 12 out of 12. The odds soon came down though for the following games. So Ludogorets, I guess the question with this one when you're making a prediction is, are they going to lose this game? I don't think so. Are they going to draw this game? I wouldn't think so. Looking at the away team though, they can score. The only thing I would say about this league at the minute is maybe give it a couple more weeks, because they've only played 1 game since coming back from the winter break. This team has anyway. Away from home, they've only played once. Ludogorets at home since the winter break, 1 game as well, 3-1. So it's tricky. It's tricky, and it's just, betting is just about eliminating risk. Sometimes it's about the games that you don't bet on, if you know what I mean. And games like this, sometimes, if you are going to take it, just know that it is potentially a risk, given that they've only just come back from the winter break. What was it on the predictions game? 1.5, 66% chance, 13% chance for the home team. So the odds, I imagine, very low, 1.33. So I've not actually set an alert on any of these games yet. Let's say for this one, if it hits 1.6 in play, let me know. If there's a slow start or they go behind, I think there was a few home games, wasn't there, where they have conceded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. They've kept a clean sheet in the majority. Over 2.5 goals in all but 2 games, I think. So definitely one to look out for. And on that note, we will set an alert for over 2.5 goals. It's 1.73 already, to be fair. That's not bad. Ranel Barbalon, please can you just pick the games? I don't know what games I'm even going to look at next. So I don't know what you mean by just pick. I know what you mean. You want me to get a spoon, put it to the camera, open your mouth. What good does that do anybody, to be honest? From France, Montpellier to win at evens. Take a look at that one right now. And then we will move on to the Manchester derby. I'll give my thoughts. And we'll take a look at some player stats as well. I understand what people mean. Just give us a play, just give us a bet. But it's just not what I enjoy doing. I'd rather just analyse the game, take a look at some interesting fixtures. And hopefully from that, you see some potential plays yourself. You know. What game did you say? Montpellier. Montpellier, 15th against 13th. So mid-table battle. Two teams that are not in great form, home and away. The away form is slightly better for Montpellier. At home, won just 17% of games. Expected points much higher, though, than Strasbourg in terms of that home form against the away team. 15th, 13th. Let's have a look at the results recently. So this is, this is why it's important to know your leagues as well. Somebody says they've been looking much better under a new manager. When was he appointed? I mean, they've still only won once, haven't they? Strasbourg are not looking as good. This one, for me, looks like you've got two teams that are not in great shape defensively. Maybe BTTS or over 2.5 goals. Looking at the away form, Strasbourg, I wouldn't bet on Montpellier to win, just because Strasbourg haven't lost that many games in recent times away from home. So if we take a look at the odds for over 2.5 goals, over under, it's quite nice, to be fair, isn't it? Evens for over 2.5 goals. I would take that potentially with a double. Something else for today. And in terms of the probability model, over 2.5 goals, 2.13 as well. So I will save that. I quite like that. I like it when you get two teams that are just conceding. They're just not great defensively. Similar to the Burnley-Bournemouth game, you know. Bournemouth are able to score, but at the minute, Burnley just conceding 3, 4, 5. So we'll see how that one goes. What do you think about that one? Over 2.5 goals. The odds surprised me, to be honest. But there could be some, again, you know, like the commenter there. If they are showing this gradual improvement that is not as easy to see by just looking at the data, that could play into the odds as well, of course. Is there another way to be alerted besides Telegram? It all goes through Telegram at the minute. There is an app coming this year. There is an Odd Alerts app on the way. And it'll actually start, let me just open the trends page. The idea is to create a new trends page that will come soon. And it will allow you to subscribe to the trends. So let's say home wins here. You'll be able to subscribe to it, and set up your own rules based on the trend. So you could add a rule to it that says the home teams have also conceded in 5 of the last 10 or whatever. And then you'll be able to set up automation on top of it as well. And that will be part of an app. So you just download the app, the Odd Alerts app, and it'll all be inside there. For now, yes, it is Telegram only. There is a Trends Digest as well on Telegram, which you can join. I'll put that in the comments of the video or chat. And any feedback or suggestions as well on the site or any of the features, please let me know. It's my, I just work on it every day, so I take the feedback from Discord and from YouTube and everywhere. Some of these trends pages that got added recently were YouTube comments on previous videos. We'll take a look at trends again later. But for now, we are going to look at the Manchester derby. It's about time, isn't it? My initial thoughts, obviously, won't surprise anybody, is that Man City will win this game. So get your predictions in now. Let's see who's in the chat. Get your predictions in, and we'll see what we can create together for this game. And I will actually open Bet365 for this one. and we'll try and put a bet builder together. I'm logged out, so hopefully it'll still let me do it. Don't want to be logging in on stream, just so we can get a fresh look at the odds as well. Get your predictions in for the Manchester derby. City to win and over 1.5 goals. You could certainly see that happening, to be fair. Manchester United and an over 2.5 goal handicap. City to win. Rashford shot on target. Let's have a look at that. Rashford shot on target. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos where I put stuff together on Bet365, you'll know that it grinds my gears. Let's just get some player stats up here as well. So actually what we can do, I've never actually used this on a YouTube video as of yet. Not one of the new ones anyway. So what you can do with this is the player search tool. So what we can do is type in Manchester City and we will hit save. And let's take a look at shots. Where are we? Total shots. Shots on target average. So we're just going to put this to 0.1 so that it registers it. And then we can click the actual rule to sort. And then we hit search. We get Haaland at the top. Average of 2 shots on target per game. Julian Alvarez, 1.15. Phil Foden, Bruno Fernandes, Rasmus. Scott McTominay with more shots on target than Rashford. Will McTominay start? That's the question. A lot of people saying BTTS in the chat. What do you think about that? BTTS. Are Man United going to score? Let's jump back to the odds for a moment just to see the confidence of the bookmakers for this game. BTTS. 1.67. 1.78 is the peak with Betway and BetChris. If we look at recent games for Manchester City and Manchester United, don't need to look at the data too much for this one because obviously it's a derby and we all know how good Man City are at the moment. Although, last couple of games against Brentford and Bournemouth, games you might have expected them to score a couple of goals. I've already seen a few people put in Manchester City and over 2.5. They haven't scored over 2.5 goals in the last 4 games. That is probably quite surprising for some people. They drew with Chelsea. Manchester United, on the other hand, come into this having lost to Fulham in the last moments. But, I mean, even these games where they win, I've said this about Man United all the time, and I'm not alone in saying this. They don't deserve, really, to win the games that they win. There might be an odd game here or there, but they just sort of scrape these wins thanks to moments of magic or scrappiness from Scott McTominay with the goals that he's chipped in with. They had a rough patch, didn't they, in December? 4 wins in a row against Wolves, West Ham, Villa, Luton. Then they lost to Fulham at home. And away from home, though, 3 wins in a row. Scored a couple of goals at least in 3 of those games. But this is a different proposition, isn't it? The previous game, 3-0 to Manchester City. Man City have won the last couple of games. In 2023, Man United did beat Manchester City, but that was at Old Trafford. Let's continue with the player stats, shall we? So in terms of a shot on target, somebody mentioned Rashford. Who do you fancy for a shot on target? Let us all know in the comments, and then I will go into Bet365 and take a look. Marcus Rashford here. We can click on it, and we can see his latest data. So for actual shots, he didn't have a shot on target against Nottingham Forest, but he has had a shot on target 3 games previous to that. And to be honest, in the majority of games, he does. But there was a spell, and I guess this is around December as well, just based on how many games ago, where he really wasn't in form, but he was sort of not playing every game, not playing 90 minutes. Of course, with the injuries and stuff that they've got at the moment, Manchester United, he's going to be playing. Is he going to even be playing down the middle? There's talk of Fernandes playing as a false 9. Fosun, is it? Played as a false 9 last week, didn't really work. I always like Bernardo Silva for a shot on target as well. Let's have a look at his data. But again, we've not looked at Bet365 yet, and as you know, sometimes they just don't let you select the players you want. So no shot on target actually in the last 4 for Bernardo Silva. Let's have a look at the actual available options, shall we? So player to be booked. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Player shot on target. So Doku evens. If he starts, that's not a bad one, to be honest, with the right back of Man United, Dalot, getting forward as he does and leaving space. Wan-Bissaka would be the preferred choice, I would imagine, against Doku because of his one-on-one skills. Certainly compared to Dalot. Potentially Lindelof. I mean, it's not great, is it? These names that you mention all point towards plenty of shots for Manchester City. John Stones at 4.5. Let us know in the comments what you think will happen in this game. Who do you think will have a shot on target? And we will have a look. De Bruyne 1.53, of course. Where's Ake? 3.75. That's not a bad shout. Obviously, he gets in with a few headers, doesn't he? He scores some scrappy goals. Does anyone have a similar site that doesn't cost money? Well, actually, this very page is open and free to everybody. This tool, so this one. I don't know a tool like this anywhere else, to be honest. FB Ref is a site that I like, but again, usability, it's kind of feels a bit more mathematical, if you know what I mean. Not as friendly in terms of the interfaces. Nathan Ake is here. 0.19 shots on target per game. What about total shots? So he does have a shot here and there. He got a shot there, a couple of shots against Everton, shot against Copenhagen, shot against Spurs, and of course he chips in with the odd goal, doesn't he? That goal against Spurs there. He's just there sometimes from a corner or from a free kick. So we'll jump back into the actual data. What about the probability model then? What is it saying for this? Home win 1.52. That is 65% as implied odds. The draw, very unlikely, 17.4. I don't think Man United have seen many draws at all this season. If I am remembering that correctly, just two draws. Yeah, all season. One of those was away at Liverpool, that game that was hyped up. And Man City have drawn 4 games. Can't see this one being a draw, but given that recent record of Man City, I think it could be a little bit tighter. Where's the value then? Should we generate a AI fixture simulation? Let's do that. 2-0 to Manchester City. So it is not going with BTTS. The most common scoreline from all of these simulations was 2-0. Away goals 1.13. Just across the whole simulation for Manchester United, 2.09. Haaland, anytime goal scorer, says Adam. Well, let me guess. I'm going to go about 1.4, 1.57. That's not too bad. 1.57. The bet builder's not going to let me do anything, is it, without actually logging in. For the next stream, I'll already be logged in, so we can put some stuff together. But yeah, Haaland anytime with a potential City win 1.28, not worth it. City are very good in the first half. We can look at the timing here, and you'll see that they've won 77% of games by half time. That record was only recently disrupted. If you look at their home form, they had won every single game by half time. Ibrahim says, not bad at all. I think you're talking about the Haaland anytime, 1.57. Yeah, it is very good. You might be able to get a boost somewhere. Usually people offer that, don't they? Depending on, max bets and stuff, you can put a tenner on. How can I have this on my browser? Oddalerts.com. Oddalerts.com is the website. Yeah, and you can save it to your phone. And look, all of this is open and free. All of the stats, all of the things that you want to look at right here, open and free. Pro gives you filters, it gives you unlimited access to trends, value bets, pinnacle drop-in odds, player foul alerts, which are interesting, very busy on a Saturday, but very valuable. I wouldn't suggest taking all of them at all, but they can be very good if you have a little bit of a dig into the player and stuff once it comes through. Ibrahim says you have to pay for it, lol. Well, it depends what you want to do. I do make sure a lot of odd alerts is open and free. All the player stats, for example. If you want to look at the player search, if you want to look at the leagues, and view all of the leagues by, let's say, the best leagues for home wins. You've got the Nigerian Premier League. No surprise there. You can then click into it, see all the data there, see all the top performing teams. This is all free and open for everybody. You don't even have to sign up. You don't even need an account. And that is not the case for a lot of the football stats websites out there. So that was the Man City game. Let me know your predictions for the Man City game. What should we look at next? I will take a look at another filter. We'll go teams that have played 10 or more. And then we will lean on the probability model again, but this time for, should we go BTTS and say 60% or more again? So it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for us. Odd alerts is pretty great, nerdy boys. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's just me working on it. You know, for the last sort of 3.5 years, it's basically been my life, just making it better every day. So any feedback, I appreciate it. Any features you want to see, get them in the chat, get them on Discord, whatever. So the away team, let's qualify that they've actually scored in, should we say, 7 of the last 10 games. And then for the home team, let's not look at goals for this one. Let's show that you can search for something else, but also you're basically still qualifying that they can score and they can handle themselves. So at home, 1.5 points per game. In fact, let's put 1.6, and that is their home form overall this season. And again, just 3 rules here. Obviously, you've got the matches played, but that's just added as a default, really, for all of my filters. But just 3 rules. Let's see what games we get for today. And we've got a game in play right now. What we were filtering for BTTS, weren't we? It is 4-2 in Hong Kong. Let's have a look if there was any value to be had here. We can check out the peak odds. And no, because I imagine the goals came pretty early. Yes, they did. What was the probability model saying for this game? BTTS 1.59. So that is a probability of 62%. So these are the games for BTTS. Were we sorting this by anything? No. So we can sort by the BTTS model. So anybody that's watching this now, take a look at some of these games, screenshot or whatever. In fact, let me, just give me a moment, because I can share this list with you for Sunday. And you'll just have to excuse me for a sec whilst I just figure out how to actually enter the chat. Anything I start to type, I think it's because it must be links, right? It must be links. But you can see what that is on the video. You're going to have to just go to it. I'll put it in the Discord now for those that are watching. Just said, for those watching, this is the link. So we've got Liverpool's under 21s, which could be an interesting game because a lot of them have been playing in the first team, so that might be a bit of a depleted Liverpool under 21s. But we can see over 2.5 goals in 100% of games for the away team, and the beauty of these under 21 leagues really is in the alerts. And I'm not just saying that. If you go to the bottom here, BTTS, and just say, let me know if it hits 1.6, you'll get an alert when it opens after around 10 to 12 minutes usually. And I need to sort this. This is a bit of a bug. When you've gone on one game before, it doesn't update if it's a pre-match game. I'll fix that today. And we can look at the results, and we can see that there's just plenty of goals for both of these teams, hence the probability model giving it the highest rating. And what is that rating for BTTS? 72%, 1.39 implied odds. So if you can get like 1.6 after 10 minutes or something, 10 to 12 minutes, you might take it. We've got games then from Austria. We've got games from Germany. PAOK to win the first half at 1.81. We'll check that out. We've got Hearts Celtic here. So the rules that we have just put in have brought back Hearts Celtic, and they've also brought back City versus United. We've got a game in Switzerland there, which is quite a good league as well. Celtic, I actually predicted BTTS in the previous game, didn't I? On the predictions video. Not the Dundee game, sorry, that was a midweek one. This one, 3-1 against Motherwell. And I think it was evens for BTTS, which was quite nice. The fans were a bit discontented before the game, so those kind of situations, I quite like them. And you can see away from home they've conceded in the last 3. They've actually conceded now in the last 5 games. Hearts will be bang up for this, of course. And at home, they're actually playing pretty well. This one ticks a lot of boxes for me in terms of BTTS. And when you use the probability model in a filter, you can have that kind of... You can relax a little bit, or you don't need to add too many rules because, as I say, you're sort of leaning on it. And we can take a look at what this will get me. 1.54. Yeah, it's quite low, but for the predictions game, I'll do it. And for real life, let's see what we're working with. 1.77 with Betfair. So again, out of all these games, this is what I like to say on the predictions videos that go on YouTube. What will you pair this with? I like to play doubles with these kind of games that I get from quick filters. And just pair them together. You don't need to think too much about it. Just do the research, find some games from filters or from trends. Do good research, but don't... If you think too much about, this game with this game, you might overthink it, if you know what I mean. So 1.77 with Betfair for this, given Hearts, given the rivalry and intensity that there will be in this game, the scoring form and form in general of Hearts at home, and of course Celtic conceding just the 1 goal in the majority of games, to be fair. They do not concede more than once. Kirk says Ajax game, and I will get to the Ajax game. Let's just take a look at some other games from this filter. If you missed it, these are the rules. So we're sorting by the probability model, 60% or more, and we are adding in a qualifier that says the away team has scored in 7 or more of the last 10 games, and the home team has 1.6 points per game or more as well. So actually Man United qualify in terms of their away goal scoring, as we saw before. Excuse me. So what game should we take from here? Bearing in mind it's sorted by BTTS. We've looked at Hearts Celtic for BTTS. Let me know what you think, by the way, of all these games that I'm looking at. Which games would you take? Which games do you like the look of for BTTS? At any time, you can change the stats scroller here, and you can actually view the odds as well. 1.62 there for Lugano. So again, this is a good place to just put some doubles together, I think. Casemiro yellow card. If he can get near the play, mate. If he can even actually get involved in the game. Ajax women's there first against second. That could be a very interesting game. Over 2.5 goals in every single home game for FC20. And both teams scoring in every single game this season when looking at home and away records. If we switch this to overall, they have still scored in every game for FC20, who are top of the league. For Ajax, they've scored in a 93% of games. So let's have a look at the results for this one. Jesus. Wow. They are a good team, aren't they? Ajax women are good. They've lost 1 game. Guess who it was to? This team. Wow. Incredible. Incredible form. Are these the 2 at the top of the table? FC20, massive game for them today then, isn't it? In terms of putting a real gap between themselves and Ajax at the top of the table. What are the odds for this? 2.25. And again, what was the game we started this stream was? Was it PSV over evens? It's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? 2.39 with Marathon. The double chance here. First of all, let's look at BTTS 1.5. It's interesting when you start to look at 1.5 for double chances. Quite nice, to be fair. I would take that potentially with over 1.5 goals, but I imagine that is not worth it given these two teams. I was just thinking in my head then, I just find it interesting that the odds can be like over evens for the victory for FC20, but BTTS is 1.5. And if you convert that, you should always just convert the odds to probability, essentially, because then it gives you an indicator into what the bookies think will actually happen. So the odds for the full-time result are quite open, but they do expect both teams to actually score. So they think Ajax are going to score against this team. But in terms of the odds, actually it's a value bet. This FC20 is a value bet here. 1.68 with the probability model. And as you can see, the odds for the home win over even. So yeah, I will be taking that one when we end the stream. If you do find a game that you like, you can hit the star and it'll get saved to your favourites as well. I'll add this as a prediction, but when I know something's a value bet, I don't really like putting it as a prediction because it's obviously, negative. We've got a game here. That's the game in Hong Kong. Let's take a look at the chat. Ibrahim says, yeah, when you're setting the alerts manually, I understand that for sure. You've got to set them manually, but there is a page that you can go to. I don't know if people have seen this. It is the planner page, and I will show you how you can use it. So it looks exactly the same. This is the planner page. This is for you, Ibrahim. If we create a filter right now, a quick filter, and we use the probability again, BTTS 60% or more, and let's just filter for that. Let's say, just imagine that you add those rules in again. What you can do now when the filter loads on this page, when you click the game, it selects it. You can select all, okay? So it'll select all of these games, and then you can click the alert at the top. Odds, so we've got 40 games here. We're going to go to goals. We are going to go to BTTS. You can do a percentage increase, and we will say 25%. And what that'll do, it will take all of the games and increase the odds. It'll set an alert on the increase, 25% in play. So that you can do it at the minute with the planner, but you're right. I'm making things at the moment that will be released soon. I mentioned one thing before, the trends improvement, which will be focused on automation without actually having to set the alerts. So it's just always on. Like the Pinnacle drop-in odds. If you've not checked that out, they're pretty good. If you like value betting, the Pinnacle drop-in odds, well worth checking out. I'll show you that now for anybody that's not seen it. Pinnacle alerts here. And Pinnacle drop-in odds, you set up your alerts here, and any that hit the thresholds you set will come in. And then if you can get higher odds on your bookmaker, your local bookmaker perhaps, then you don't need to have access to Pinnacle. That's a good thing, but people use Pinnacle as a base because the odds are so close to probability. So we'll take a look at a few more games. Hopefully those of you in the Discord were able to click on that link, and you can see those games and track them throughout the day. Let's see how many end with BTTS. You can set alerts or just check out the peak odds once the games have started as well. I'll give a final prediction as well for the Manchester City derby. I'll give a score prediction. I'll also give some predictions in terms of who's going to score, who's going to get carded. I'm just trying to think. It's hard to actually think when you're on a stream. I've just realised that because you're always trying to fill the space. You're always trying to fill the silence. But I will have a think right now about what I think. Obviously, City win. I don't see Man United being able to just go there and do what they did against Liverpool. I think they are two teams in different states at the minute. I think Man United will lose, and I would say City will want to come out in this game with Haaland back, with De Bruyne back, with a lot of their players purring at the minute. Foden, De Bruyne, of course, always. I think City half-time, full-time. Haaland anytime is a very, I think, valuable bet there at 1.57. I would expect it to be like 1.4 or something after his 5 goals against Luton. Mental. So maybe Haaland to score. Half-time, full-time is not on the bet builder, so let's have a look at the odds for that one. Half-time, full-time, 1.83. 1.83. I tell you what I will do as well. Just whilst we're here, I will set an alert for the first half goal. And we'll end with some trends after this because I just wanted to show. Somebody mentioned, setting up the alerts manually. 1.2 for a first half goal. Well, let me know if it hits 1.7. Oh, 1.7. and I will check that one out if and when it does. And I said I'll go to trends because I just wanted to show you, someone was talking about the, it takes time to do the filters and set up the alerts and go into the game. Alex, Phil Foden shot on target. Yes, I do like a Phil Foden shot on target. I just not sure of the team, the selection, Alvarez and De Bruyne coming back. It's a bit of a spanner in the works for Foden fans, isn't it? But Foden is playing superb. Even Bernardo Silva's been on the bench in recent weeks, and he is just, to have someone like that on the bench is crazy. So this is the trends page, and just in terms of setting alerts, let's say you first half goals, look at all these 100% records here. You could set an alert on these games. Let's go next 24 hours. And once you go to one of them, and we'll say, let's say 1.6, and then you'll just go in and monitor. You can then click into the ones you like. The FC Twente game, the women's team that we saw before, they've not seen a 0-0 all season at home, so we can click in and do that game as well. And you can just go through, and this is what I was talking about before with the new trends update that will be coming maybe this month, I would say, in March. We're only at the start of March now, aren't we? Got a few other new features coming as well, including a AI predictions page, improvements to the predictions games, more markets, plenty of things on the horizon as well. New ways to view stats, updates to the API as well. If you want to get this data, all the raw data, you can check out the API as well. There's a lot going on at the moment, but yeah, just click the bell, hit save, and it's done. And you can actually click this trends bot up here, and that will just get you connected to the Telegram bot. It'll just take you to the bot if you want to connect your account and just start setting alerts. So AEK Athens, maybe that'll be the last game we look at. Get in the chat. Let me know if you've enjoyed the stream, and if you would like me to do these again. If you prefer the videos that I do on YouTube where they're just pre-recorded and a bit more structured. It's hard. It's not easy to do a live chat, but I think the more I do them, the better I'll get. There was no structure to this. I just sort of jumped on this morning because I wanted to just preview some games, and yeah, let's have a look. Get your requests in, get your chats in, any games you want to cover, any games you like the look of today. AEK Athens. So this is a rivalry. If you see this little fire icon, it means it's a rivalry. Card markets available as well. Let's have a look if there's... I don't think it'll be actual card markets, will it? Usually just player markets, cards. Oh, there is. Okay, interesting. Both teams to get a card. 1.083. Not worth it. So... AEK Athens. Empoli win. Thanks for all the inputs and odd alerts in general. Even the free content is very valuable. Thank you, Draco14. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but I love it. I love looking at football, coming across cool games. That's what the filters are to me, and the trends page. They're just entry points, into interesting games. And in terms of BTTS for this one, it's a no, isn't it? I know that wasn't what we went to look at, but I'm just saying what I see at the moment. This team keeping plenty of clean sheets up until the most recent game against Panathinaikos, who are 4th in the league. Aris are 5th, and they are playing top of the table today. So it's an interesting clash. This team's just lost once all season, AEK Athens. The previous game was 1-1, before that 0-0. Tight affairs. With 7 cards in that game, just won the game before that. Let's have a look at the cards this season for both of these teams, because card markets was available, wasn't it? Both teams to get a card, 1.44, or both teams to get 2 cards, that is 1.44. So we've got players to be booked as well. 1.8 for over 5.5. So let's take a look at that. 48% and 56%. We can have a look at the referee as well, whose name I can't be tracked. Anastasios. Give me a moment. Sideropoulos. Anastasios Sideropoulos. 105 games in recent times. 26 red cards during that time. Let's have a look at his... this is the Super League, isn't it? So 10 appearances, 5.7 cards per game. 5.7, 2 red cards. Yeah, I mean, I don't bet on Greek football. I haven't bet on Greek football this game. It looks like to me it could be a tight game. The added spice of the rivalry could mean that there's cards, but at this stage of the season, especially away from home, AEK, just a point between them and PAOK, and then just 3 points between those and Olympiakos. So, yeah, I mean, let us know what you think about this game. What do you think will happen? Do you agree with me that it's going to be a tight game? Let's have a look at the probability model. We can generate a simulation, 2-1 away victory. But the most common scoreline was actually 1-1. That's interesting. 1.45 goals for the home team. Total goals, 3.07 per game. The probability model, as we can see here, very high for over 1.5 goals, but also very high for under 3.5 goals. So kind of confirming that we might see a bit of an edgy, tight game. Let me know what you think about that one. Cards in the City game, yeah, I can take a look at that as well. Hello from Sydney. I was going to try and do an Australian accent there, but in the past it has failed. It's been absolutely bloody terrible, as it is there. It's cards for the City game. Well, we can go back to the player search tool for this. This is oddalerts.com/players/search. It is, as I say, it's open, it's free. We can reset all of these, and Niatama. This is why the live chat, I think, for these videos is a good idea, because they are saying that Arias will play with reserves because on Wednesday they have a very important game. I imagine that's Conference League, is it? Or maybe they're in the Cup in Greece. Let us know. So let's look at appearances, and we'll say they played, let's say played 10 or more games, and then we can add another rule. I don't think you can see the drop down on the screen recording software, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to be looking at fouls here. So fouls committed on average, let's say at least 1.5 per game. And then we can just sort by the fouls. And then one of the rules that I do like to add here is substitute out percentage. This is a godsend. 30%, in fact, let's just put that to 20%, see what we get back. We hit search, and from 2,600 players playing across the next couple of days, we get 41 players sorted by fouls committed. And all of these games, by the way, in this shortlist have card markets or player markets available. So we've got games from the Eredivisie, we've got games from La Liga with Barcelona here, this midfielder, Gaviria. I just shouldn't try and pronounce names anymore. We've got games here from Greece, Panathinaikos. This player, he's never been substituted out. 7 yellow cards. He's played over 2,000 minutes. He's committing 2.3 fouls per game. What if we want to also qualify that they've actually committed some offences that have got them booked? So let's say they've got 5 bookings or more, shall we, this season, and we go from 41 players to 23 players, but we are still, 23 players is a good shortlist for you to then take a look at further and maybe take a look at the games. We can see that there's a few players here that have not been substituted out, or that have been substituted out very, very few times. So this game here, the Lecce game, there is a defender who commits 1.71 fouls per game and has 7 yellow cards this season. We can also sort all of this by the yellow cards. We just click the stat to sort, and we get Martin de Roon. Who did he used to play for? Was it Southampton? Or was it Swansea? Or Everton or someone? Who was he? Where was he? De Roon. And he's got 9 yellow cards this season. He's never been brought off. He's not been brought off once. So, these are the sort of things I look out for. And these are the sort of things I look out for when the foul alerts come in as well. Hello from Uganda. Hello, Joshua. Folusho Williams says, do this again. Nice. Lee Garner, this is very informative live. Well, that's good. That is good to hear. What is your favourite market, Joe? Well, I think I would always suggest value betting, obviously, for long-term sort of more disciplined approach. But for the filters and for when I'm doing my research and actual picks and stuff, BTTS for me, or half with most goals. Which I can show you on the trends page, just to end up. It's been a long one, this, hasn't it? It's gone on for longer than I thought it would, but it's gone quite quickly. So half with most goals is quite a nice one. You can enter the games through the trends pages, as is the case with most, next 24 hours, and you get decent odds, as you can see, over evens or evens. The Lugano game that we saw before, that was on our BTTS filter, wasn't it? Ibrahim says he loves BTTS. It's just true. It's just, for some of these leagues, it's always easier than picking a result, and football is unpredictable anyway. So if you've got a really strong home team, it might just be that they find something from somewhere or get a penalty. They only need to score one, don't they, for BTTS? And then even if that really strong home team does what everyone expects them to and just gets the job done, it's happy days in terms of BTTS. And that's why I like to try and pick strong away teams when I'm looking at BTTS, but also home teams that can score. They don't have to be great, the home teams, but just, that's why we did points per game before, 1.5 or something. It's average, but it's not terrible at the same time. So this game, we found it for most goals with second half, and it also appeared on the BTTS filter from before. So BTTS was 1.56. So given that, and given this, maybe an alert is certainly something we can do, but also I'm thinking maybe over 1.5 second half goals, again, just to reduce the risk of the market in general. You can see the bookies are not entirely sure which way this one will go, because I imagine it's two good teams. It is 6 against 5th, so two evenly matched teams rather, but the home team with 2.08 points per game are, the favourites you would expect. I've not actually looked at the odds yet. Oh yeah, 2.09. I did look at the odds. I just saw them, didn't I? Let's have a look at BTTS. 1.65. It's not bad, is it? Again, when you're putting doubles together. Do we have second half goals on offer for this one? Yes, we do. Over 1.5 second half goals at 1.92. So that's not bad, to be honest. Let me know what you think about that. Quite like that myself, to be honest, because we know, based on the way we found this game, that there is a tendency for second half goals, and we can see it here in the data. They've scored 0.42 goals per first half, 0.67 for the home team, but in terms of second half, it is 0.92 and 1.58, and the home team conceded just 3 first half goals as well. So yeah, it's looking interesting, that one, to be fair. There has been a second half goal in every single away game for Lugano and in 92% of games. And actually, in terms of over 1.5 second half goals, it is 92% for Lugano. And this game, remember, was one of the top games today for BTTS from the filter that we looked at before. And Lugano have scored in all but one away game this season. Their games have been quite fun in recent times. And just what I was saying there, why would you look at this team here? Why would you try and predict the outcome of that game? Look at the mixed array of results for both of these teams, right? Why would you try? That's why I do lean towards goals when I'm doing my own, personal picks, as you've probably seen on the last couple of videos. But on the Trends Digest, I did put it to a poll, and you all made me look at BTTS again in the last video. I'll do another poll before I record the next video, which will probably be maybe middle of next week, or maybe I'll do another live video, I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll see. Is anyone seeing odd alerts right now for the first time? I'm interested to see that. I'm just interested to see how the reach works on YouTube Live. To be honest, this is the first time I've done it, so I'm interested to know how many of you are coming across this channel for the first time. How many of you are, regulars and you watch some of the videos, or you've used odd alerts before. Just interested to see how the reach works, because I didn't really set up the description in any too much detail or whatever. So yeah, I'll have a look at all the stats and stuff later, and then readjust for the next video. Valentine, first time on odd alerts. Well, welcome. Hope you've got some value from the video. I hope the video itself is okay, the mic and everything. This is, this is the first time I've done this. Da Hustler. What I've noticed about odd alerts is it doesn't need lazy people. You need to dig deep into the stats. I'm trying to build something for everyone, but at the same time, I'm not just gonna. I could very easily just provide a feed of games that have been picked for a certain outcome or something, but I just don't. When you Google, let's say over 2.5 goals, all the top pages are like over 2.5 goals, sure tips, or 100% guarantee. There's no such thing as a sure pick, but that's for some reason. That's people. Some people have got it in their heads that there is, but there isn't. I can't just say this is going to happen. But it's crazy how many people are like, I need sure odds 3-1. Okay, but just by virtue of the actual odds, if you convert to probability, that's why I don't get when people do massive accumulators. It just doesn't make sense to me. But people chase the long odds. People chase the money. I'll show you the value bets. We'll end on the value bets. So you've got home games. You've got all these feeds, but you can't. The drop down isn't recording for some reason. We've got draw, away win, over 1.5 goals. I'll just click through and you can see some over 2.5 goals, under 2.5 goals. Very, very good value bet market that under 2.5 goals. BTTS as well. You've got corners and then you've got over and under for the teams as well. Ibrahim has been using it for over 2 years. Thank you. I appreciate you. Any feedback, as always, just let me know. Hopefully, if you're in the Discord. If not, hit me up, email me. I'll get you in the Discord if you're not in there. And I appreciate anybody that uses it. Honestly, I do. And as the people in the Discord will tell you, if you just give some suggestions and feedback, I will take them on board and try and improve the products. And one thing that people don't realize is there's not any adverts on there. And again, when you're saying about the intention of people that come to odd alerts, like what I don't want to make it easy for people, or you have to look for the stats. It's just the data. I don't want anything to get in the way. And as an example, now let me just put football tips into Google, and I will click some of these websites. And what do you notice straight away? What do you notice? Who's the product? The person viewing is the product because there's ads. OLGB, I think this is more of a prediction tip website, isn't it? Don't see many ads. Fair enough. That's good. But I mean, look at this. I've not even got onto the website yet, and I'm bombarded with adverts. Odd alerts is not like that. It will never be like that. I've had many emails asking to put massive banner ads on that go to bookmakers that take a percentage of your profits. That is how these things work. I don't agree with it. I never will. And again, it's something that people don't realize, but as you were saying before, the differences between some of those tipster sites and odd alerts is that it's just about connecting football and data for you to make it easy for you to find games. That's it. There's no fluff. There's no BS. There's no adverts. I'm not trying to get you to sign up to anything. I'm not even prompting you to bet on anything, to be honest. It's just about the data. And I think that's where those comments come from, when people are just asking, just give me the tips, give me the bets, because they're so used to seeing it on these type of websites. But you have to understand, these types of websites want to post as many tips as possible because it means they make more money, right? Because when you click on them, they make money. That's not the way for odd alerts. It never will be. So thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the people that have been watching this video. I appreciate it. And if you've got any feedback, if you've enjoyed the video, leave a comment. I will be picking somebody from all of the comments to win Odd Alerts Pro, and I will announce that in the next video. I hope the stream quality has been okay. I'll go and watch the video soon and just check it. And I hope the content of the stream was all right as well. Again, I'll review the stream. I'll watch the video, see what worked, see what was a bit boring. Yeah, we'll move on to the next one. So thank you everybody for your company on this Sunday morning. I hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoy the football. I'm really, really looking forward to the Manchester derby. I think Manchester City will win. What did I say before? Half-time, full-time. Man City victory with Haaland anytime 1.54 and 1.84, wasn't it? So that would be a nice bit of a double. Maybe throw in a Casemiro card in there for good luck. And yeah, interesting to see the team news, because as we saw before, Scott McTominay has had more shots on target per 90 minutes than Marcus Rashford. So that could be an interesting one, given the way he plays and gets into interesting areas. So thank you, and I will see you in the next one.